I'm ready. I'm totally ready. I have it down. Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. My name is Chase Steele Greye, and you know, there's something different about being connected to nature, right? As I'm recording this, as I'm talking with you, sitting on the grass, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful that you are here. I am, if you don't know who I am, a singer, a creative, a philanthropist, a curious soul, born in the month of March, and I'm still here. That's my intro for today. But outside of that, this is Health and Wellness Wednesdays. And on this day, we strive to bring you information and things that enrich you, inspire you, give you a little bit of something to have a better existence in your life. So, I apologize for that. Oh, are we here?
You are here, Chase, and you got muted.
Okay, sorry about that. I realize as I'm recording on the phone, if I switch the screen, it goes to mute. Okay, I'm going to stay right here. All right, so as I said, we have a great topic today. And before I get into our guest, Mr. Sorrel Catan, could you please give us a wonderful intro on Mr. James Crosby?
Yes, sir. Mr. James Crosby was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn!
James Crosby is like nothing you've ever seen before.
That is true.
Currently holding an Associate's of Liberal Arts and Mass Communication from Medgar Evers College and a Bachelor's of Music in Jazz Studies from the City College of Music. This young man, well, let's just say younger man, currently finishing up a Bachelor's of Science in English Equestrian Studies and Equine Business Management from the University of Findlay in Findlay, Ohio. Outside of his degrees, James is also a verified recording artist on all streaming platforms such as Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, Panorama, etc. Aside from his accomplishments in academia, Mr. Crosby is no stranger to the world of performing arts. He's here today being hosted by one and only Chase Steele Greye. Please welcome James Crosby.
Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. Hands up in the air. Love that intro. Welcome, James Crosby. You are muted, sir. If someone could take James off of mute, that would be spectacular. Oh, there you are.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
I see the morning is treating you well, Mr. Crosby. You seem very relaxed. I like that.
Yeah. I woke up and I was like, oh, wait. We have to do a thing this morning.
That's honest. That's honesty. That's my boy James. You know,
yeah.
The reason why I have you today here, and because I really, truly, from my heart, respect you as a human being. You and I have had a wonderful journey together as you were placed into my life by another one of my great friends who I hold highly. And I said this the last time you were here, but this person that is a mutual friend of us says, please take this young man and mentor him as much as you can. He's a very special human being, and I want to place him in your hands. Not only was I humbled by that, but when I met you, I totally understood everything that she said. So I want to give you your flowers up front. So, this topic today about how the communication and care of horses can help wellness and so on and so forth. I did some research on this a while ago when I was talking to you briefly. And then I realized that this is it equine therapy? Am I saying it correct?
It's equine studies.
Equine, sorry, therapy.
Yeah, depending on, where you are. Some people say equine, some people say equine,
Right,
you know,
right, right.
tomato, tomato.
Tomato, tomato. And you're from the hood, they say Daquan. I'm sorry. I had to say that. Anyway, so so I did some research and I was like, wow, it said in the research everywhere I went that this therapy is helping children, adults deal with PTSD, um, all sorts of like self-esteem, anxiety, addictions. And I was like, wow, really? Like, I love horses and my experiences with horses has been very limited.
Yeah.
However, when I'm around them, I feel something very specific, right? And the last time I was next to a horse, outside of just seeing them in New York City, I was on a horse
Yeah.
in Dominican Republic on the beach. And that horse, I rode that horse. I must have felt like a tic tac to that horse. He pulled me so quickly. I was like, wow. But again, I turn it over to you. What is it about horses where they can do this thing? They have this, I don't know what to call it. Unpack that for us, if you could.
You see, when I couldn't come up with a title because when you approached me and you said, "Hey James, you want to come on the podcast and talk about horses tomorrow?" I was
Get a lag. We got a lag. We got a lag.
I was thinking, sure, but I wasn't sure where to start. That's why I kind of had you pick a title because, pardon the expression, like I know we're talking about horses, but I could talk about these animals until the cows come home. Yeah.
I love that.
But I think the best thing to do is to just follow the progression of the horse, and before we get on, we have to start from the ground, you know? Like before you even put on a saddle, like you're on the ground with the horse. So I think that would be a good place to start, even within like the half an hour that we have, or within the time that I have with you all today. So before you even starts to like touch the horse, you have to realize how spiritual these animals really are, because a lot of people don't know they can actually feel your heartbeat from a good 4 feet away.
That's what I researched, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
Wow.
you know.
And you
So
know what? Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say one thing.
yeah,
I read that horses can feel your trauma and they react accordingly to what you need to know about yourself. And I
yeah.
said, what? Anyway, I just wanted to say that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. And the great thing about it is they do teach you about yourself, because when it comes to this relationship, we're the only ones that have an actual sense of time. They have all day. And even when I was at Findlay and I was, like training young horses, and like I was working with them, putting buttons on them, showing them what they don't know, I would be having trouble with them, and I had them for like a little bit amount of time within the time of my class, but they move to their own clock. They have all day. I only have 45 minutes. But they don't know that, and they don't care.
Right.
Because the thing is, no matter what you do, all they know is honesty, and they realize you're not treating me right, and I won't stand for it. And if I was a 1,200, 1,300 pound animal, I wouldn't either. So
Wow. Wow.
the thing is, at the end of the day, it's all a relationship, right? And with the start of every relationship, you have to come correct.
Mm.
So when you go into that stall or when you go out into that pasture, they know that, you're feeling good today or you're angry, or I've even seen some occasions where a horse can realize when a woman is pregnant and she don't even know.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
that's just how intuitive these animals are. So that's the first thing. Before you even get on a horse, like your first interaction with them, they know.
Right.
And I feel like the thing is, if you don't know, they're waiting for you to realize it within yourself. They'll help you realize it within yourself.
This is deep, brother. This is
Yeah,
really deep. You know,
yeah.
I I've been around you a few times and we've talked deep dive, we've done musical things together. And my question to you is, can you feel the difference between when I met you and you had not started working with horses fully yet until now? What has the horse done to you? Or horses, because you've been with multiple horses at this point. But
Yeah. Well, the first thing is that they they make me reflect as opposed to react,
reflect as
you know?
opposed to react. Where is my pen?
And that's the biggest thing. Yeah, yeah. And this is something that I learned from a trainer when I was working down in Tennessee, because when I was down in Tennessee for a summer, there was a trainer, and I was living with her and her husband and their family, and I was, working on their farm, and I was training with them every day, and I was taught to reflect before I do something as opposed to just reacting. So if we're walking and I was asked to go up to a trot when I was riding, or if I was asked to go from a trot to a canter, or if I'm going over a jump or something, if I just think, oh, I gotta do this now, it's like a knee-jerk reaction as opposed to thinking about what I'm doing. Like before I even get to that jump, I have to have enough trot to get to a good canter. So I have to bring my outside leg back. I have to sit down, like shorten my reins, make sure the horse knows I'm there. And then I have to count my strides to the jump, because if I don't sit on this horse and wait for that jump to come to me, I'm gonna go crashing into the jump, and I have before. It's not fun. I couldn't move like my right ring finger for a while because like I crashed into a jump before.
Wow.
Yeah, so reflect. You got to reflect on a lot of things. You can't just go into a horse's stall and just, put a head collar on him and lead him out, or you can't just do things haphazardly, because sometimes horses are having a bad day and they won't hesitate to tell you about it.
Hmm.
So you have to look at everything around you. Like, does this horse like me? Do they want me near to them right now? Are their ears forward, or are their ears like pinned back? Like, and do I see their teeth? And the thing is, but because I've learned to reflect instead of react, it has also helped me with my interaction with the people around me. Like even when you just asked me that question, how I didn't just respond within record time. I took the time, I looked within myself, and then I answered, right?
Right.
So it's the same thing. You have to reflect everything you do, because if you just react, it might not be the most optimum like response.
Correct. I agree with that. Obviously, we can use that as human beings as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this question. It just came up in my head as you were talking. Is it possible for a human being anywhere in the United States, in almost all the major cities, to possibly go and be with horses in a way where you don't have to train them, take them out, be with them? Do there exist places where people go to be connected to the energy of a horse?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we're in New York, obviously. I know in New York there must be places upstate or even close by to do it.
Yeah.
I asked that because what if somebody wants to be closer to horses right now, and what would they do? Because let's just say in New York City right now, we see the horses, the carriages, and so on and so forth, and people come there. And this is a question I want to ask you: when you see a horse, especially the ones that we see all the time near Central Park, is it a good thing to go up to a horse and put your hand on its body or on its face? What's the proper way to approach a horse where the horse knows that you are respecting the horse immediately? I always wonder that, because I think people see it and they go, oh, hey, and they, whatever. Or some people go, hi, like that. But I wonder, what's the correct way? How do you do that?
Yeah. Well, first, if it's not my horse, I would ask their owner.
Right.
Yeah. I would ask their owner first. And then, once I would get the okay, I think the most appropriate thing for a horse that I don't know is I would first put out like my hand in a fist, like just extend it.
Interesting.
Because
in a fist.
Yeah,
Wow.
like in a fist, because some horses can really be like treat sour, where as soon as you put your hand out like this, they automatically think that you're giving them a treat.
Yeah,
that
getting
kind of
fed.
thing. Yeah,
Right.
so I don't want to like just gaslight them and give them that impression. So I would just put my hand out in a fist by their nose, let them smell me, because you have to realize horses or other animals, they don't speak English. I always like to say horses speak pony,
Horses
So
speak pony.
yeah,
Wow.
they speak pony. They don't speak English. So the way that horses like communicate with each other, and I see it all the time, they sniff each other. They use scent. So after they get my scent, and I would rather pet them on their neck, because some horses really don't like their face being touched. Especially the ones that have more business-like relationships with their humans. But one thing that I do like to do, especially when I meet a new horse, it's something that I picked up through one of my mom's friends who used to work at, no, she didn't work at Aqueduct. She had horses that she owned at Aqueduct, like race horses. And it's a kind of custom that comes from the Comanche tribe of the Native Americans. What they used to do is they would mimic what the horses do when they meet each other, and they would softly blow into the horse's nostrils, and they would kind of get their scent, and then the horse would blow back, and that's how the human and the horse would get to know each other. So when I see a horse and I want them to get to know me, I would softly blow in their nostrils, like, and then you'd kind of notice the horse would like kind of like extend its head, and then you get this big breath back on you, that kind of sounds like a, it's kind of like the same thing what tigers do when they're chuffing, when they see other tigers or they see their favorite humans, they kind of go like, yeah, horses do the same thing. So if I see a horse that's softly blowing its nose, and then you'd kind of feel him blow back on me. And then next thing you know, you have this horse next to you is just laying his head on you and you can't get him to go away because he's like, duh,
It's
duh.
amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Whenever I change my screen or slide left or right, I go into mute. So I'm going to ask if anybody has any questions right now for James before I say anything else. I can't see the chat icon from this screen, and I don't want to. Sorrel, I can see your hand actually. Sorrel?
I'm on mute.
Boom. There you go.
James, as you were speaking about the horses, I couldn't help connect to the spirituality you're pointing to, and also wonder, do horses, and I'm thinking of all animals, but now horses in particular. You mentioned they don't have a concept of time; they have all day.
Yeah.
Now, do they have a concept of the relationship they're in with the humans? Meaning, do we enslave horses and use them? And is there something that doesn't work about that for the horses?
So that's interesting because what I've come to realize is that even though I say they don't have a concept of time, like they're rushing to do something, I realize that they still have a schedule that they like to keep. Because no matter what barn I'm in, it could be 7 a.m. in the morning, or it could be 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 12 o'clock midday. That horse knows when it's time to eat. They know, because I'm a riding instructor right now. I work as a riding instructor at a barn in Long Island, and I've seen it time and time again. When it gets to feeding time, you will hear a bevy of whinnies coming from the barn at 3 o'clock on the dot. Like you will hear like banging on the doors, and you was wondering like, is somebody getting killed in there? No, it's just feeding time. The horses are ready to eat, and we're late. But to answer your question with, if we think that they're enslaving them, I wouldn't really call it enslaving. However, I would like to think that the horse realizes that humans are a part of their herd, right? Because the great thing about horses is they're herd animals. And with them being in a herd, there's a hierarchy. And within every herd, there has to be either an alpha male or a queen mare being a female horse. So there's a matriarch or there's a patriarch in every herd. So there's got to be somebody in charge. And with horses, they rather not be the ones who are in charge. So, and I see it all the time because when I'm in a lesson and I bring a horse out, they don't depend. If the rider doesn't know what they're doing and the rider doesn't take control, they will follow me the whole time. Like there could be a rider on their back, but if that horse feels like the rider is not fit to rule and they feel like the rider doesn't know what they're doing, I've seen it time after time with different horses. They will bring their heads all the way down. They will extend their necks right to the ground as if to release the rider of control, because you're not gonna fight a 1,200-pound animal that has its head on the ground and they know that you can't pull them up. So what they do is they'll bring their neck all the way to the ground and they will nosedive right to the middle of the arena and they'll come back to me like, "Hi, Dad." So horses definitely have a sense of hierarchy and they definitely have a herd mentality, even if they are a horse in captivity.
Wow.
Thank you,
Steve.
James. Liz, Molly
Yes. Molly.
has a
I
question.
saw Molly, yes.
I don't have a question. I just have a statement. And I put this in the chat. But I used to do hippotherapy, which is kind of like horseback riding therapy. And they put you on the saddle and you kind of move with the groove of the horse, like walking. And it's supposed to help your gait get a lot better. But unfortunately, I only did it once a week. So you need a repetition, repeated movement of the horse moving to make a difference.
Yeah, definitely. Like repetition is key. And that even has come with me and my own riding. Like it took me so long just to be able to rise on the right diagonal when trotting with a horse because I mean if we had more time we could go into like the biomechanics of it all, but repetition is
We'll do
definitely
it. Horses too.
yeah. Yeah, horses too,
Horses too. Horses too.
Yeah.
Molly, did that answer your question?
It wasn't really a question, it was just a statement.
I mean, your
I was
comment.
just-
Sorry, I just want to make sure you got your point across.
Yeah,
Thank you so
thank
much
you.
for your comment. I appreciate you.
Thanks.
Well, James,
Thank you, Molly.
you know what I'm about to say because it happens every time, right? Time has had its way with us. We do have time, and we do know what time is doing to us.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Somewhat. Anyhow, I value you so much, James Crosby, and I enjoy your perspectives on life, the information that you're highly adept at, your heart and your soul. I really mean that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I will have you back again, maybe in a couple of weeks, because I feel like there's so much stuff we want to say about this. So let's like come back the week after next and go into some other stuff and get right into it the next time, right? I'm going to let you speak even more next time. But at this point, we're going to do our outro. I appreciate you being here today. As always, my good people, please, please love stronger than you ever have. Please live out loud. Please laugh more than you do not. Please give of yourself as much as you can. Look around and see what you can give to someone else today, whether it's a piece of food or a meal or a smile or a new bag or a hat or just help somebody across the street, something, right? Please give it a shot to eat plant-based if you can. Today, why not? Try it today. It's the beginning of the day. See how it works for you, right? Also, please remember to sleep more than you have in the past. If you slept 5 hours last night, sleep 7 hours tomorrow night, right? Give your body a little time to come down from life's challenges and then come back up again. Always, as always, stress less. Whatever that means for you, right? Read a little bit more today. Walk on the grass. When I'm done with this, I'm going to take my shoes off and I'm going to walk on this grass for about 10 or 15 minutes. Get grounded, right? One of my favorite things to do. And lastly, please check yourself before you wreck yourself. By taking that breath, you could avoid a major collision. Have a spectacular day, everybody. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Thank you so much.